to the channel. In this video, I'm going to show you something called an UPS. What is an UPS? That stands for uninterruptible power supply. It's battery backup. You know how you take the power cord out of your phone and it switches over to the battery? That's your voltage regulator realizing that, hey, there's no power anymore. This is sort of like that. So to get started here, this is an APC backups. It's backup, but they call it backups. It's a play on words. And APC supplies all the supermarket chains with this. Now, if you're at the register, underneath the check stand, they have something like this, and the register's plugged in there and stuff like that. They have it hooked into an isolated line, and they have this. So to start off is the bottom. This one right here is the one that this is. This is a basic UPS. I'm going to be putting it on my daily use machine and all that, but before I do that, I'm making this video. So you have this, and then you have the next model up, and then you have the high-end model. Now this is, if you can see it on camera, it says home slash office series. If you ever heard of a SOHO network, which is small office home office network, that's what this would be used for that. Now they do have a networking series, which is good for data rooms and stuff like that. And they have a gaming series. Now the reason you would want a little bit different is because requirements require different things. So this is just a basic UPS and all that. So to get started, let's open the box and find out what's in there. Then I will demonstrate how it works. So I open the box here, and up at the top you get the power cord. Now mind you that this is attached to the UPS itself. Pull this egg carton looking thing off. I'll throw that on my bed over there. This is the manual for it. I've used one of these before. I've actually a different model number. The ones used in the supermarkets are white. Now, as far as I know, the last time I saw them, they were white. The only reason is I worked at one and they needed help. One of the registers wasn't working, and it was a busy day. It was on a Saturday, and there was a power issue, and the power went out. The UPS didn't kick in. Come to find out, since they have a generator for the frozen stuff, that the generator, this particular UPS was plugged into the wrong plug. It said the orange plug was plugged into the white. Did that, reset the UPS, and it worked fine from now on. Yes, they let the IT guys know, and they were okay with it because the guy who was going to do it was on basically the farthest part of town. So I'm going to take the UPS out of the box here. So this is the UPS. It's still in the plastic, as you can see. So I'm going to pull the plastic off. I love the smell of new parts. So if I do this, that's what it looks like out of the box. Now this right here is telling me connect the battery before I do anything. So you turn it over and it has the instructions right here. Right? So it's disconnected right now. So what I got to do is turn it up and put it in. So I'm going to do that right now, if you could see what I'm doing. There we go. So to use it, I have to take, this is a fuse. Now I don't know what the amperage of the fuse is. I have to look at that. Now if you notice, it's the same as an automotive fuse. So what I'll do is turn it up just like this, and you push it in just like that. So now the battery backup is ready to go. So I'm going to pull that off. I'm going to plug it into my regular power strip here, even though this is connected by itself. I'm going to plug it into my testing unit stuff. These two white power strips are going to go away. I'm going to take... Oh, I'm standing on it. So this is the plug. Alright, so I got a building warning fault, which means something on here is not grounded properly. So if I turn it on or off. So what this is right here is to silence it if there's something wrong. Alright, so I powered it on. So now it's on. And you heard the relays clicking. So now what I'm going to do, turn it off. Now it's turned off. So I have the capability as a power strip, which is nice. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to unplug my networking equipment. I'm going to plug it into here, and we're going to turn it on, and we're going to see what happens. I already know what's going to happen because I actually set one up a long time ago. So unplug the extension cord for my stuff here. I'm going to plug this into here. Now the worst thing that'll happen is the power go out to the house, but that should not happen. So now, as you can see, my networking equipment is turned off. So when I push this button, it should turn back on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep my stuff aimed at the networking equipment. Everything is turned on. Even the printer's turning on. So it's doing its thing. It's changing the circuits. Now, if you look here, you have battery and surge and discharge. These four plugs are connected to the internal battery that's in here. These are not. These two will protect during surge. These will do both. So if I disconnect the ups, meaning I'm going to create a power outage situation here, not literally, but I'm going to turn this power strip off, the networking equipment should still run. So just to prove that I'm not lying here, I am going to do this. Right? My networking equipment is still running. Why is that? It's running off the battery. So you'll see the power light flash, which means it's running off the battery. Now, and this is good because you have 2.3 hours, a little less than 2.5 hours of battery life. Now, something like this in a normal person's household, if you're working from home, or because I have a lot more computer stuff than most people do, what I would do is connect all my networking equipment, your modem, your wireless, and a laptop. So in that case, it would be 3 plugs. Then this way, if the power does go out in your house, you could, and you're in the middle of a Zoom meeting, this will help stay on. Now, I can't guarantee you that the person you're talking to has this setup. So, to get the light to stop flashing here, I'm going to turn on the power strip, and that light will stop flashing. The light stopped flashing. My networking equipment is fine. It's switched back over, and you're good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it down just like that, and you should be able to see my finger a little lower, and I'm moving that. So I'm going to push the main. If you look at the bottom left-hand corner, I'm going to turn it off again. Switched over. You noticed that there was no one light did go off because I have a computer still connected to these power strips, but you notice the other 2 lights didn't go off. That means you are protected. Now, some of these have real fancy things. So now I am going to turn the battery backup, the ups off, and my networking equipment should turn off. There you go. It's off. So now it's completely off. So now, some of these, especially right here, will have a screen. It gives you voltage readings. It gives you how much power you are using. It tells you if it's going to overheat. It tells you all sorts of things. Now there's something called a smart ups, which is this is not. A smart ups, what will happen is when the power goes out, we'll switch over. If the battery in the ups is going to die, what will happen is it'll tell the computer to turn off. Here's how that works. Somewhere around, this would be considered the back on most of them right here. You will have a USB port with a USB A end and a cable with 2 USB A ends. Now they probably have some that have USB C ends. I haven't seen them, but that doesn't mean they don't make them. So what you do is you take the cable, and let's say your computer's right here. You take the cable, run it over here. Okay, power's getting low. It does this, what it'll do is it'll tell the computer to turn off. So that way it just doesn't turn off on you. It's the equivalent of going to start, power, and shut down. But the ups does it. I've seen one work. I looked at one, they were a lot of money. And I just need something to look decent, something that works, and stuff like that. Now, what I was getting back to, the one when I worked at the grocery store, the ones that they used were APC, but the front, this was the front. And you had a power light, you had a battery light, and you had a voltage light. Now what would happen is when the batteries would go bad, it would wig out and the battery light would flash. So what I had to do one time was take the battery out. They didn't like that too much, but we explained to the guy that it was doing really weird things and stuff like that, and I was the one who did it, so they were okay with it. This is good to have stuff. Now, what do you plug in to the battery plus surge? Your computer, whether it be a laptop or a desktop. Now, and networking equipment. Now, with me, the room that I'm in, the networking equipment is in a different room, and fortunately that person doesn't have an ups on that, but I have an ups on my stuff, just in case I need to get important documents printed out or whatever. So here's on a desktop scenario. The computer itself, the monitor, the printer, on this particular one I'm talking about, and the printer. So you can, if you're doing office documents, you could do it and you're good. Now, if you have a little more expensive ups that has a lot more plugs, on a desktop scenario, your desktop, if, as I stated, if your UPS has more plugs than this one shown, computer, monitor, printer, and networking equipment. Now let's talk about laptops. The laptop, of course, you're not going to have a monitor unless you have an external monitor, then you would plug that in as well. Networking equipment and printer. So if this was a laptop setup, if I was setting up a laptop, here's what I would do. First plug would be laptop. Second plug would be the printer. And this would be the modem, and this would be the Wi-Fi if I had it. Sound or whatever extras you need. Now, the reason I say that for this particular one is most UPS I have seen have been connected to desktops. So you can use it on a laptop. All your laptop would say is it would be, if you plugged it into one of these plugs, all it would say, your laptop would think it was still plugged into the wall, which it technically is. But when it switches over the battery, you won't notice it on your laptop unless you disconnect the AC, unless you connect the power supply from the laptop, then it would switch over the battery. So this would act as an UX battery for your laptop. So there are, as I stated, some that have lights and some that have screens. The ones for the server rooms, those are really expensive. I've seen some that have two. So anyway, that is it for this video. Please comment, like, and subscribe, and click that bell for more notifications.